Hello and welcome back to my channel where math is fun and fear-free. If you are new here, hit that subscribe button and ring the bell so you don't miss a thing. Today, we're talking about multiplying and dividing decimals, including what happens when we throw in whole numbers and powers of 10. Let's break it down. First up, multiplying decimals. Here's the rule of thumb. Ignore the decimals, multiply like normal, then count and place the decimal at the end. Let's take some examples. If you want to multiply a decimal by another decimal, like the rule says, firstly, you ignore the decimal. So if I ignore the decimal here, it's just the same thing as 73 multiplied by 84. So I remove the decimal point. 0073 is just 73 and 84 is 84. Now I will do my multiplication. 73 multiplied by 84. That would just simply be 4 times 3 is 12, 2 with the remainder of 1. 4 times 7 is 28 plus 1 is 29. 3 times 8 is 24, 4 with the remainder of 2. 8 times 7 is 56 plus 2 is 58. So I'll add up my numbers now. I will have 2, 13, 3 with the remainder of 1. 1 plus 2 is 3, 3 plus 8 is 11, 1 with the remainder of 1, and 1 plus 5 is 6. Now, after I have done my multiplication, the next thing to do is to count the decimal places. So this first number here has three decimal places. That is, there are three numbers after the point, while this one has only one decimal place. I will add up my decimal places. Three decimal places plus one decimal place is four decimal places. Now I'll come to my answer and I'll count four decimal places starting from the right hand side. One, two, three, four. So my points will be here. So the answer to my question is just simply 0.6132. I'll add a 0 as a placeholder for the whole number. So it is 0.6132. Now that's the answer to that question. Let's take another question. Now, the same rule applies here. I'll ignore the decimal point. So this just becomes 24 multiplied by 13. Now, I'll do my multiplication, 24 times 13. And this will simply be 12, 2 with the remainder of 1, 6 plus 1, 7, 4 plus 1 is 5 times 1 is 4, 1 times 2 is 2. Then if I add up, I'll have 2, 11, 1 with the remainder of 1, and 3. Now, I'll count my decimal places. This has only one decimal place, and this has another one decimal place. So one decimal place plus one decimal place is just two decimal places. So I'll come to my answer and I'll count two decimal places. 1, 2. So my point is here. So the final answer to my question is just simply 3.12. And that's the answer to that question. Now, when multiplying decimals by whole numbers, it's even easier. Ignore the decimal, multiply like normal, then count and place the decimal point at the end, just like we did in the previous one. So let's take some examples. In this case, 14.9 is the same thing as just 149 multiplied by 8. So I ignored the decimal point. So I'll do my multiplication, 149 multiplied by 8. And that would just simply be 8 times 7, 8 times 9 is 72. So 2 with a remainder of 7. 8 times 2 is 32 plus 7 is 39. 9 with a remainder of 3. 8 times 1 is 8 plus 3 is 11. Then after my multiplication, because I only have one decimal place and there is no decimal place here, so I'll just come to my answer and I'll count just one decimal place. So the answer to that question is 119.2. Let's take the second example. Here, I would ignore the point. So 0028 is just 28 multiplied by 11. Then I'll do my multiplication, 28 times 11. 1 times 8 is 8. 1 times 2 is 2. 1 times 8 is 8 again. 1 times 2 is 2. Then I can now add 8. 2 plus 8 is 10. 0 with the remainder of 1. And 1 plus 2 is 3. Now, this number has three decimal places and the other number has no decimal place. So I'll just come to my answer and count three decimal places. 1 starting from the right, 2, and 3. So my point is now here. So I have to place a 0 before the point. So the answer to that question is 0.308. This part is cool. When multiplying decimals by powers of 10, like 10, 100, 1000, 10,000, any number that has just 1 and zeros are called powers of 10. So when multiplying decimals by powers of 10, we just move the decimal point to the right. Note, you move the decimal point to the right. Please note, the number of zeros in the power of 10 is equal to the number of places you move the decimal point. Let's take some example. Here, I want to multiply 4.57 by 10. Now, because I have only one zero in 10, it means I'm just going to move the decimal point only one place to the right. This is your right hand side. So my point is now here. So the answer to that question is just 45.7. So this is what you do if you are multiplying by a power of 10. Note, a power of 10. Now, 3.2 times 100. Here, I need to move my decimal point 2 places to the right because I have 2 zeros in 100. So, 1, 2. Now, there is no number for me to move the point over. So, I'll just put a placeholder 0. So, the answer to that question will simply be 3, 2, 0. Now, because there is no number after it, it can be 320.0, or you can just leave it as 320 because 0 means nothing. Now, the next one, 0.76 multiplied by 1000. So I'll move my decimal point 3 places to the right. 1, 2, 3. So I'll place a 0 in the empty space. So the answer to that question is just 0.76, then 0.0. Now, please note, this 0 is not important. The 0 at the left-hand side of the whole number is not important. And also, 0.0 means nothing. So I can also write my answer as 760. And that's the answer to that question. Now, let's go into dividing decimals. If you are dividing by a decimal, shift the decimal to make the divisor a whole number. Let's take some examples. Please note that in this case, 4.905 divided by 0.5. The 4.905 in this case is called the dividend. While 0.5 is referred to as the divisor. So the divisor is what you are dividing by. Now, note that your divisor must always be a whole number for you to be able to divide. So how do we make the divisor a whole number? Is by moving the point on the divisor to the right until it gets to the end of that number. So in this case, I just have to move the decimal point once. So the point is now here. It means that this becomes just 0.5, which is the same thing as 5. Now, the number of times you move the point in your divisor is the number of times you move the point in your dividend. So because I move the point in my divisor just once to the right, I'll move the point in my dividend once to the right as well. So this becomes 49.05. So because my divisor is now a whole number, I can now draw my division sign and divide. So 49.05 divided by 5 will then be 49 divided by 5 is 9. 9 times 5 is 45. If I subtract, I'll have 4. Don't forget to place your point at the top. Then bring down the next number, which is 0. 40 divided by 5 is 8. 8 times 5 is 40. If I subtract, this becomes 0. I'll bring down my next number, which is 5. 5 divided by 5 is 1. And 1 times 5 is 5. If I subtract, I have 0. So the answer to this question is just 9.81. Let's try another example. In this case, the point on the divisor also needs to be moved just one place to the right because there's only one decimal place here. The same thing I'll do on the dividend. So because I moved the divisor just once, I'll move the dividend just once as well. So the dividend is now 19.6 divided by 1/4, which is 14. Now I can now do my division. 19.6 divided by 14. You can place your point at the top before you start your division. 19 divided by 14 is 1. because there's only one 14 in 19. 1 times 14 is 14. So after dividing, we multiply, then we subtract. 19 minus 14 is 5. I'll bring down my 6. 56 divided by 14 is 4. And 4 times 14 is 56. I'll subtract, then I have 0. So the answer to this question is just 1.4. Now let's divide decimals by whole numbers. If the divisor is already a whole number, just divide like normal, then place your decimal points. Let's take some example. 18.76 divided by 7. So here the divisor is already a whole number. Take note, your divisor has to be a whole number for you to be able to divide. So I don't need to move my point because my divisor is already a whole number. So I'll just go straight into division by drawing my division sign, 18.76, and I'll divide by 7. 18 divided by 7 is 2. 2 times 7 is 14. If I subtract, I'll have a 4. Don't forget to place your point at the top, then bring down 7. 49 divided by 7 is 6. 6 times 9 is 42. If I subtract, I'll have 5. Then I'll bring down my 6. 56 divided by 7 is 8. And 8 times 7 is 56. Then if I subtract, I now have zeros. So the answer to this question is just simply 2.68. Let's take the second example. I'll draw my division sign, 0.765, and I'm dividing by 5. I can place my point at the top. Now, 0 divided by 5 is not possible. So 0.7 is just 7, and 7 divided by 5 is 1. Now, because I'm dividing by 7, my 1 is on top of the 7. Now, there's no number before the point, so I can put a placeholder 0 for my whole number. So 1. 1 times 5 is 5. If I subtract, I'll have a 2. Then I'll bring down my 5. 25 divided by 5 is 5. And 5 times 5 is 25. If I subtract, I have 0. So therefore, the answer to this question is 0.15. Dividing decimals by powers of 10. When dividing by powers of 10, you move the decimal place to the left, just like when we're doing multiplying by powers of 10. But in this case, we are moving the decimals to the left. Note that the number of zeros in the power of 10 will determine the number of places you move the decimal. Now, let's take some example. If I want to divide 68.3 divided by 10, because I'm dividing by 10 and 10 has 1 0, I'll move the point just one place to the left. So it goes all the way to the left like this. So my answer simply becomes 6.83. And that's the answer to the question. The second one, 3.2 divided by 100. I'm simply going to move my point 2 places to the left. 1, 2. So this is my point. There's no number here, so I'll put a 0. And there must always be a whole number before the point. But because there is none, I'll put a 0. So my answer becomes 0.032. Let's take the third example. This is 76. It's a whole number, and I'm dividing by 1000. Now, when you have a whole number, the decimal point is always at the end of the whole number. So I'm just going to move my point that is at the end 3 places to the left. 1, 2, 3. So my point is now here. Because this place is empty, I'll add a 0, and there must always be a number before the point. So I'll place a 0 there. So the answer to that question is 0.076. And that's the answer to the questions. Practice time. All right, time for you to shine. Drop the answers to this practice question in the comments below. I'll pin the first comment with all the correct answers. Boom! That's how you multiply and divide decimals like a boss. Whether it's by a whole number or a power of 10. Now you've got those tools to crush it. If this video helped, smash the like button, share it with a friend, and don't forget to subscribe for more maths magic. See you in the next one. Keep learning and keep winning.